What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, I will be speculating and theorizing in this video on whether or not these upcoming Studio Series 86 figures for 2026 that were recently leaked by Walmart a few days ago, which I covered on the channel. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. And I'm just going to be going through these characters listed and trying to figure out what could be going on here with these releases next year. So without further ado, let's get right down to the nitty gritty, shall we? So first one here, let's talk about Leader Class Soundwave. Now, this is kind of a tricky one because of how the Studio Series 86 line is, and because of Soundwave being such a popular A-list character. I think they're going to go all in for this release, especially at Leader Class, and they're going to make him a brand new spanking mold. Yep, you heard it here first on the ChrisJaammm channel. I'm saying that this is going to be a brand new mold, top to bottom, and he's probably going to come with a couple cassettes that appeared in the movie. Probably not all of them, especially, I know for like $60, he should probably come with all of his cassettes if this was like 2011, but it's not anymore, so he's probably going to come with like, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 cassettes or something like that. And, he's probably going to have all of his weapons, the cannons, the handheld guns, and his shoulder-mounted gun. Hopefully some hand articulation would be nice. Give us maybe a butterfly joint, ab crunch, because of how his robot mode design is. That it could warrant some of those pieces of articulation. That would be nice, especially at Leader Class price. But yeah, for the character, and especially with how Studio Series 86 is in terms of accuracy and cartoon models, that Earthrise and Siege mold would not be the most accurate mold that they could use. And plus, they've already used those molds like, what, 4, 5, 6 times the last 5, 6 years? So I think they're going to want to move on. I think the last use of this mold was Dramatic Capture earlier this year. I think they just wanted one last reuse out of that old body mold. So yeah, I'm thinking definitely a new mold here. And we got Cyclonus here, Voyager class, and I think the Kingdom one a few years ago is a lot more accurate to the cartoon model than some of these characters I'm going to be talking about. So at most, he might just be a repaint with more of an accurate cartoon color scheme, whatever that may be. And at the most, I'd say they're just going to retool some parts to maybe be a bit more accurate or proportionate detail-wise to the animation model. But we're going to have to wait and see. But overall, I think he's probably just going to be a repaint, considering the Kingdom figure is already really accurate and excellent as is. Next up here, Leader Class Astrotrain. This is kind of a tricky one too. I'm thinking, well, if you look at the Siege figure, that figure is like 6 years old now. And it's not really up to par with a lot of the engineering you get in the Studio Series 86 subline. So if I had to guess, at most probably a retool. I don't really see them making a new mold for Astrotrain, but I could be wrong here. I think at most he's going to be an extensive retool to make him a bit more accurate to the animation model. But if he is a repaint, that would kind of be a bummer because it doesn't really fit with the Studio Series 86 engineering and look. He has a lot more greebling on him, which is more so from regular mainline generations and not Studio Series generations, so that would be kind of odd, but I don't know, they kind of mess up on details occasionally with 86 movie characters here and there, so we're just going to have to wait and see, but my guess is he is going to be an extensive retool of the Siege figure. Now, Deluxe Class Sunstreaker. I am going to go out on a whim here because Sunstreaker is one of the most popular G1 Autobots. People love him, and they have been asking for a redo on this character for years now because that Earthrise figure is super inaccurate, and to begin with, it's not even that great of a figure. It's okay. It was good for the time it came out in, but since 86 has kicked off with super highly accurate and well-engineered figures, that Sunstreaker just looks like a slap in the face at this point. So I'm going to say he's going to be a new mold, and maybe at the least an extensive retool of that Earthrise body mold, And if it is a repaint of that crappy Earthrise Deluxe, oh my goodness, that is going to be the fumble of the century. So listen to this, guys. You make a new mold for a concept art Bumblebee movie Sunstreaker last year, an iteration of the character that virtually nobody cares about because he wasn't even in the movie, and nobody even knew he had concept art or was made to be in the movie, but was cut from it. But you give a repaint to the actual movie appearance of Sunstreaker in one of the most iconic pieces of Transformers media, in one of your highest selling Transformers sublines right now. That just wouldn't make any sense to me. So right now, I'm thinking he's going to be a brand new mold, top to bottom. Next one here, Voyager 86 Skywarp. He's obviously just going to be a repaint and a new head sculpt, probably of the Thundercracker mold. Same with Starscream. Not much to talk about here. I think they did say that there's going to be different expressions for some of these Seekers. I could be wrong on that. So I'm excited to see what they could do with a new head sculpt here. But other than that, he's probably just going to be a repaint. Nothing too crazy or exciting here. And the last one I wanted to talk about is Voyager class Shockwave. If you ask me, for the main commander of the Decepticons on Cybertron, it would have been nice if they kept him at that leader class price, but you were already filled up for the leader classes of 2026 Studio Series, so whatever. So I'm thinking, because of the popularity of Shockwave, because of the inaccuracies of that Siege mold, and because of how much they've reused it, and how old it is, he's going to be a new mold, I'm thinking. From top to bottom, at the very least, an extensive retool, reusing some parts from that Siege figure. But overall, I'm thinking brand new mold. Like, you just can't make Shockwave in the 86 line just a straight up retool of that frankly outdated Siege figure from 6 years ago that has all that extra greebling and certain design inaccuracies when you compare it to the cartoon that just doesn't fall in line with what the whole 86 subline and what Studio Series as a whole is about even, which is screen accuracy. And with a lot of these figures, if they're just straight up repaints like what some people think they are, it wouldn't make sense for what Studio Series stands for, and especially what the 86 subline has shown with their releases the last 4 years, and especially with what they stand for in terms of engineering and aesthetics for the subline. So with that said, I think the most logical explanation would be him to be a new mold. But again, I'm just speculating. There is a chance I could be wrong here. Hasbro has messed up with certain aspects of characters in the past that should have been obvious to them, and it just wasn't in the development of the figure. So it could just be a repaint. I don't know. They did just do a repaint with the dramatic capture, but I'm thinking that was just, again, another one last reuse sort of thing. I think that whole subline is just a whole thing where they're just doing one last reuse on these molds to make some extra money off them before they get new molds or get retooled or whatever and reused in the Studio Series 86 subline in the next year or two. Because if you look at those dramatic capture releases, a lot of them are characters and figures that are getting new 86 figures within the next year or two. So I think there might be a little bit of a pattern here in terms of dramatic capture, and then seeing the 86 that same 86 character show up a year or two later in that subline. So I'm thinking all these ones that showed up in dramatic and are now showing up in the 86 line a year or two later, they're getting new molds. They're not going to reuse those same molds that they just used for that Takara subline. But who knows? I'm just speculating here again. I'm not taking this as fact on my part. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below. How do y'all feel about these new listings? Do you think these are going to be either re-releases, repaints, retools, or new molds? And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!